Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Randall's Comics. Hope everyone's having a wonderful week and getting that Christmas shopping done. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here. And for tonight's episode, I decided to do some DC. So I went digging through my DC box, and lo and behold, I found an interesting character to dig into. Once I started doing a little digging, it turned out to be a very interesting trip down the rabbit hole, shall we say. Let's get started on tonight's episode of The Spectre, shall we? Now, glasses off first. The Spectre is the name of several anti-heroes who appear in American comic books published by DC Comics. The original version first appeared in More Fun Comics number 52, February 1940. The character was created by Jerry Siegel. Wow, he created Superman. And Bernard Bailey, although some sources attribute credit solely to Siegel, limiting Bailey to the artist assigned to the feature. Now, Siegel, he created the Man of Steel, giving everybody hope, and then there's this dark character of the Spectre that he created. Now, moving on along here, the Spectre is a divine entity representing vengeance on behalf of the presence. Considered God in the context of Abrahamic religion, initially a demon named Adstar, he rebelled against God but later sought forgiveness and was granted a divine role. As a Spectre, Astar possesses immense power, making him one of the most formidable beings in the DC universe. He is bound to a human host to assist him in judging the transgressions of humanity and other beings, determining suitable punishments. These judgments are often delivered in a harsh and creatively ironic manner. The Spectre has had multiple hosts throughout its history. The primary host is James Jim Corrigan, a Gotham City detective who was killed and resurrected as a Spectre. Hal Jordan also became the Spectre to redeem himself after his actions as Parallax, becoming a force of redemption. Crispus Allen, another Gotham detective, served as a host despite his doubts about God's existence. Wow, that's very interesting. It almost has The Crow before The Crow. I'm pretty sure this may sound like it may have inspired The Crow. Let's go back to the debut of the Spectre, shall we? The Spectre debuted in More Fun Comics number 52, February 1940, when hard-boiled cop Jim Corrigan, on his way with his fiancée, Clarice, hello Clarice, to their engagement party, is murdered by thugs who stuff him into a barrel filled with cement, which is then thrown into a body of water. Good gravy. Came out in 1940? Anyway, Corrigan's spirit is refused entrance into the afterlife and is instead sent back to Earth by an entity referred to only as the Voice to eliminate evil. Wow. Alrighty. That's very interesting right there. But let's keep digging into the Spectre's past, shall we? Stick around. Alrighty. Back for the second half of the Spectre's history. Now, the Silver Age version in the mid-1950s and 1960s, Silver Age of comic books, DC Comics editor Julius Schwartz revived the Spectre and returned him to the role of an avenging spirit, beginning in Showcase number 60, February 1966. Under writer Gardner Fox and penciler Murphy Anderson, his power was vastly increased, at times approaching omnipotence. A 1987 magazine retrospective of the character said the revival had been initially announced as a team-up with Dr. Midnight. After a 3-issue tryout and showcase, the Spectre appeared in the superhero team comic Justice League America number 46 through 47, in that year's team-up of the titular group and its 1940s predecessors, the Justice Society of America. Written by Gardner Fox, a few months later, he co-starred with the Silver Age Flash in the Brave and the Bold number 72, July 1967. Brave and the Bold. Well, that's Bold and the Beautiful. I think I was thinking about a soap opera. Alrighty then. Now, the next iteration we have is the Bronze Age of the Spectre. In the 1970s, DC revived the Spectre again in the superhero anthology series Adventure Comics. Editor Joe Orlando explained that this was the Earth 1 version of the Spectre, though some of the DC said otherwise. Later stories explained that the Spectre had moved from Earth 2 and taken over the body of Jim Corrigan of Earth 1, beginning with the 12-page The Wrath of the Spectre in issue number 431, February 1974. Writer Michael Fleischer and artist Jim Aparo produced 10 stories through issue number 440, July 1975, that became controversial for what was considered gruesome, albeit bloodless violence. Comics historian Les Daniels commented that this had commented, "Wow, okay." Moving right along here, of course, we have the modern age, which is eventually Corrigan's soul finds peace. He relinquishes the Spectre force and goes on to heaven. Very nice. The role of the Spectre is later assumed by Hal Jordan, the spirit of the former Green Lantern, during the Day of Judgment storyline written by Geoff Johns. When a fallen angel attempts to gain the Spectre's power, Corrigan is asked to come back but refuses as he has found peace. The Spectre Force chooses Jordan as its new host because Jordan seeks to atone for his actions as Parallax. Alrighty, and the first issue of the Spectre that I picked this up off of. This is off of Whatnot. Yes, of course it's on Whatnot. It wasn't eBay. This is Weird Adventures Comics, number 434. Take a peek inside, shall we? Ooh. This was published in 1974. Yowza. There we go. That's the first issue I have of the Spectre. And the next issue I have of the Spectre is a 90s version right here. This was by Ostrander and Mandrake. As you can see, there's a Spectre right there. Yeah, he's exacting vengeance on someone. Wow. And those are my two books in the Spectre series. So, what do y'all think about the Spectre? Let's discuss that on tonight's episode of You Know. Stick around. Thank you for joining me for tonight's episode of Randall's Comics and You Know. If you like what I brought you, please smash that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and check out my Christmas shirt my coworker got me. Anyway, we got to see all three of us in the shirt because it has arrows pointing to. Anyway, it's creative. So anyway, as for the Spectre, for coming out in the 40s, that was some pretty intense storytelling. As far as it sounds like a lot of modern characters may have, like the Crow, a few others, maybe even Batman. Um, there's a few more, as far as um, seeking vengeance, on those who have done wrong. Like I said, it seems like later on with Hal Jordan, the Spectre wants to find peace rather than vengeance, which is kind of evolving the character. So anyway, thank you for joining for tonight's episode of Randall's Comics and as we like to say around here, let's hope the Spectre has found some peace and he's using that fish grease to ease his soul into heaven. You guys take care, and I'll see you next time.